I'm Alessandra Barrett, Associate Director of Special Projects at the Journal of Commerce, and I'm at TPM23 with Dylan Alperin, Head of Professional Services at Keelvar. Dylan, it's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Flexibility and usability are things that we hear a lot about, strong needs. What are your thoughts on how we achieve that in a meaningful way?
It starts with having a modern architecture. So we founded Keelvar in 2012 out of an AI research laboratory in Ireland. So we've really built the product to have a much more flexible user interface than some of the other legacy tools that are out there. I bought those legacy tools in the past. I've used those legacy tools in the past and was genuinely surprised even when I came to Keelvar about how much you can change things, how flexible it is to fit different solutions, and how much faster it is than running RFPs in Excel.
Your clients are all over the globe with multiple stakeholders. How do you handle the more complex projects?
Yeah, logistics is a great example. Probably more than 50% of our projects are in logistics, and those are categories that have sometimes thousands of lanes or items that need to be sourced. That needs to be done across sometimes hundreds or thousands of suppliers, and they need to collect a variety of price and non-price attributes. So Keelvar is really set up perfectly to manage those types of problems. That's where we excel the most in really complex sourcing scenarios. We're able to take all those different factors and run constraint-based scenario optimizations that bring to our clients the ability to analyze the best solutions that they can get. And that's through our sourcing optimizer tool. And then additionally, we have an autonomous sourcing tool that can take all of that burden of even running the RFP now and remove it so that the bot can take on that activity for you as well.
Could you put that into a little bit of some more real terms, maybe a customer example, sort of walk me through how that would work?
Yeah, sure. So one of our largest clients on the automation side is a CPG company, and they traditionally were doing all these spot quotes manually, sending emails, collecting spreadsheets, passing those back and forth. But today they've rolled out an autonomous sourcing solution to 1,500 users across the company, and they do over 6,000 spot quotes a year now through the autonomous sourcing tool. So if you think about each of those going to probably 3 suppliers, there's 18,000 emails, spreadsheets that would have to get collected and collated. Hopefully they went to the right suppliers. Maybe they were approved, maybe they weren't. But now that's all done through the autonomous sourcing tool. So that bot is able to take off probably 92% of the manual work associated with running an RFP.
I'm going to shift a bit. How do you balance cost savings with non-cost factors like sustainability?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's something that all of our clients are really looking at now. You know, Keelvar's really set up, again, that modern architecture we talked about, that flexibility allows you to bring in things like sustainability. We even did a webinar and a white paper on it in the last year that shows how you can really get into the details, even if you don't have the CO2 data yourself, collecting it from the suppliers to understand the age of their equipment, the types of fuel that you're using, and then balancing that with cost. So you can optimize for CO2, you can optimize for cost, or you can run iterative scenarios to try to identify where the break-even point is. Based on the budgetary constraints you have, how much can you invest in a greener solution, and how much CO2 can you actually remove through that process?
What about sourcing urgent needs?
So that's definitely been a topic over the last couple of years. We've really got 2 ways that we recommend people tackle urgent sourcing needs. First of which is what we already talked about on the autonomous sourcing side. Building bots that take that tactical work of running an RFP out of your procurement team's hands. Letting stakeholders and requesters run the automation, but having it follow your procurement governance model, having it going to the suppliers that you need it to go to. That frees up your team's time to focus on more strategic work. Sometimes that strategic work can also be a dynamic market sourcing model. So that's what a lot of our clients used over the last couple of years as prices have been really wildly fluctuating in a lot of markets. And that's just the ability through the user friendliness of Keelvar to run an RFP much faster. You know, it doesn't take 4 to 6 months to run an RFP anymore. Now we can run an RFP as fast as suppliers can respond. So the majority of the time now is how long do the suppliers need? If they need a week to respond, we can do an RFP in a week. So it really frees up the team's time to not have to do a 4-month RFP every month. They'd never be able to do that. But with the dynamic market sourcing model, they're able to take the RFPs that they've already built, continue to add to those, and run a really, really dynamic process that allows them to capture all those changes in price, capacity, or even sustainability like we talked about.
What's the black hole that most of your customers seem to struggle with?
Yeah, I think, managing that capacity piece, managing that pricing piece as it changes is really difficult. I know when I used to be a category manager, I would run my RFP. I would spend those 4 months running the RFP, and things would go stale by the time it was already done. I would already have suppliers saying they needed to change rates, they needed to make changes, they didn't understand something in the RFP. So having the ability to have a more driven dialogue through Keelvar really helps people understand where pricing is right, where it's wrong, how they can react when things change. We all saw a lot of change over the last couple years, some of it predictable, a lot of it not. So this really gave people a way to react to that. And that helped people with something that is a really big concern for them now, which is the idea of operational agility. They didn't have that before. So the really smart companies that I worked with built that agility. They built that muscle memory by doing their RFPs more often. That allowed them to source more frequently. So when planned changes happen, they can do those really effectively and really efficiently. And when unplanned changes happen, they're able to react a lot faster than their competitors.
And what area of technology do you think holds the most potential for the industry right now?
Definitely the automation side. A lot of people are talking about it. There's a lot of confusion about what it is or isn't. So our automation solution, again, is still very much a human at the controls kind of model. A human is building the request, a human is approving them, but all of the work is automated. And that's a really, really powerful component, because now all these other things we're talking about, nobody's getting a ton more resources to go off and do all this other work. So we have to figure out how we can be as efficient as possible with the work we have and give those people more job satisfaction, because they're going to be working on more strategic stuff. They're not just going out and sending emails and collecting spreadsheets anymore. They're able to focus on supplier relationship management, sustainability. So the ability of automation to get rid of that tactical work is already here. It's going to continue to change and improve, but it's really powerful.
Dylan, thanks so much for taking time to sit down with me today.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I've been speaking with Dylan Alperin, Head of Professional Services for Keelvar.